Are you new to fly fishing? Are you thinking about taking it up? Do you know what you need? Are you overwhelmed by the choice that's out there in the shops or online? In this video, I'm going to try and cut through some of that and give you the very basics and give you an idea of what you need to get started. But before we do that, I just wanted to come in and quickly mention, I know it's been a minute since I last posted and I haven't exactly been the most active in comments and things like that. All I can say is that life gets in the way when you work full time and you have a family, but I logged in, I'm absolutely overwhelmed by the fact that people are still watching, liking, commenting, subscribing to these videos, so I am trying to get back to everybody, so bear with me, and a massive thank you to anybody who has interacted or engaged with any of my videos. Thank you. So the first thing you're going to need is a fly rod. Here you can see one of mine. This is a 10-foot, 2-piece, single-handed fly rod. It is rated for a 7-weight line, which I'll explain a bit later, and what I would say is, as a beginner, you really want to go somewhere, if it was me, somewhere in that 8 to 10 feet kind of length area, and go for something that is a sort of 6 to 8 kind of range fly line. The reason for that is it's a bit heavier and it's a bit easier to cast, particularly when you're new. Alright, in terms of budgets and things like that, you can spend fortunes in these things, so I would say go with what suits your budget. You can get some great used rods rather than going and buying them brand new, and they're a lot cheaper, particularly if it's something you're just new to, so I would recommend you do that. And also, the most important thing is just starting and getting going, rather than the technology. Now, one thing I probably should mention is you can buy setups where you have a rod, reel, line, everything is all included, which is great. However, I know some people like to buy things separately, particularly if you're buying second hand. So what I would say is just make sure that when you're picking up your reel, you can see on the back here there are those numbers. Those are the line ratings for the reel, which will match with your rod, so just make sure that they all tie together. In terms of line, you also want to match the weight to the line rating of your rod and reel, and as a beginner, I would recommend just going for something simple, just like a weight forward floating line. The weight forward carries the weight at the front of the line, which will help you cast and get a bit of distance. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is tippet and leaders, starting off with poly leaders. Think of these as an extension to your fly line, and they come in a range of different lengths and densities. So you can have floating, intermediate, slow sink, medium sink, fast sink, etc. And they come in like 5-foot, 8-foot, 10-foot lengths. And what these do is they help you, especially if you're using a floating line, get down at different levels in the water without actually physically having to change the line that is on your reel. So these are really good, particularly when you're starting out. They also do add a little bit of weight, again, just to help with that casting and turning over, especially in windy conditions. Now, the ones I'm looking at are from a brand called Airflow, however you get lots of different ones if you look online. You can also get them in a big pack like I have, or you can buy them individually. Again, if you're just starting out, I would maybe think about just like a clear floating, intermediate, and a sinking, and that should kind of cover you for most situations to begin with. And here's the chart from the Airflow website just to give you an idea of what each one is. And finally, we have our tippet material. This comes in a range of different line weights, and this is what physically attaches your fly to your fly line. Alright, so this is just like a kind of nylon poly leader. Now, I couldn't talk about fly fishing and not mention the flies. Here I have a selection of wet flies. I could be here all day talking about the different types of flies that you can use, like dry flies, wet flies, nymphs, lures. It goes on and on and on. However, today I'm just going to keep it simple and just talk about some of the wet flies that I like to use. You can see here I have a box that has a range of different flies in it, a few different patterns, different sized hooks, weighted, unweighted. And what I'll do is I will talk to you about some of the flies that I actually like to use most. So I've kept it simple, just going to talk about 5. So starting off, we have the spider. Nice and easy fly to use, pretty basic, pretty straightforward. We've got the silver teal, great for sea trout, gives a bit of flash in the water. The Cape McLaren, this is a variant of it, it has a black hackle instead of a brown. Again, very effective. The black pennel, probably my favourite fly. And finally the Alexandra. Again, this is a flash of silver and some peacock feathers and that flash of red. Now I'm deliberately not talking about floating and sinkings, simply because I want to keep this nice and simple. However, again, I will discuss this in a future video. Now some of the other things I like to carry or like to have would be a set of forceps for unhooking a fish, and a set of fine point scissors just to keep the presentation nice on my knots. Now these are actually fly tying scissors because they're really fine and really sharp. Finally, I would also recommend having a good pair of polarised glasses. They will help you with visibility of a fish under the water. They'll take the glare from the surface and they give your eyes some level of protection, just in case you get a wayward fly. Now I'm editing this video up and I've just realised I've totally forgot to mention, also worthwhile having a net so you can safely handle your fish. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions and I will get back to you. If you're more experienced and you've been watching this, let me know if there's anything I've missed. If there's anything that you would suggest to a beginner, let's all help each other out. Thanks again for watching and I will see you in the next one.